She's all I know.
Do you know Joyce Ferguson?
Oh, no, that's a lie. My father was a gambling man down in New Orleans.
Did you witness segregation growing up? How did it affect your childhood?
Along, there was no such thing as segregation. Black and white got along. We all lived in the same community. When I lived in North Carolina, there wasn't none of this here, none of this here. If a white person got sick, a black person would bring them a cake. Vice versa, we're all good. And I never had an attitude like they do nowadays. But as far as segregation, it wasn't nowhere near like it is now. When I come along, we all got along good together.
How did the Vietnam War specifically affect your family? Did you have any family or close friends that served?
Yes, I had a brother that was over in Vietnam the same time I was, and he was in. I was up in North General Highlands. He was at Da Nang, and we were supposed to see each other, but we never did get the opportunity because the conflicts we're having over there. You know, things were going on, but my mom got mad and went to him and said, look, I know the law says that you only have one of your children over at a time, just one. So we had an opportunity whether I wanted to stay or my brother wanted to stay. And we both denied coming home, so my mom got mad at us. But I had already been over a while. I didn't want to come home, didn't turn around and go back over there. So we didn't even get a chance to see each other as far as Vietnam, but we were over there at the same time.
How did America change after the assassinations of RFK and MLK?
Well, as far as political stuff, I never was into it too much. I do know, I can tell you this, that the day that he got killed, I was out in the front yard washing my car, and a school bus come by and said he just got shot and he's dead. And it did hurt me, you know, because he was the president of the United States, you know, as far as that part. But it did affect us in a lot of ways. For him to be shot at that period of time, it affected a lot of people. And I like Kennedy. I thought he was a good president, and I hated it when he passed away.
Being in the Vietnam War, what was your perspective?
She brought it out and clarified. When I went to Vietnam, I was over 18 months, and when I came back, people would never have nothing to do with me. They called me baby killer and all that stuff, and I had nothing to do with killing babies over there. The Marine Corps did that. Some unit over there was one involved in that. But as far as me, when I got back, I had a hard time getting a job. Well, you're a Vietnam vet, we can't use you. And everywhere I went, people would disown me and you know, classify me as a baby killer. They're hurt. And so the federal government got behind it, and they opened the door for all veterans to be able to work with the government. And I was able to get into the government with civil service. But when I come back, I was an outcast. Nobody wanted nothing to do with me except for my family. And it hurt. To go over and fight 18 months and come back and people will disown you. And you ask many veterans that and they'll tell you the same thing right today. The ones that are still living. They'll tell you what was done to them was wrong. And I had no control over the war. A lot of people were mad at me because we lost the war over there. I had nothing to do with it. I just did what the man told me to do. That was higher up officials, you know, that was involved into. He told me to go somewhere, I go somewhere. But it was bad. That's really all I can say about it. I experienced it. And you don't forget it either. I'll never forget it. When I came back from Vietnam, the very first thing I did when I got off the plane is get me some milkshake and a hamburger. Because over there in Vietnam, all I had was dry milk, powdered eggs. We didn't have the luxuries that I had when I was here in the United States. A lot of people don't know this. Had potatoes every day, and that's just the way it was. But I couldn't wait. When I got back to the States, I couldn't wait to get me a good hamburger and milkshake and stuff like that, because I didn't have the whole 18 months I was over there. They served me beer over there, but they couldn't serve me good milk. I went to Vietnam. You ever heard of the Airborne First Cav? They had about 400. Well, they had about 400 men. They went over there 2 weeks before I did. I went in the First Cav Airborne. I was attached to the First Cav. When I got over there, two weeks after they had lost over 200 men in the Airborne Cav. They were stationed at Central Highlands, where I was stationed at, and it escalated from there to other things, and the war over there is entirely different, and than the wars you see today. There was no such thing as a front line over there. When you were over there, you had to watch yourself everywhere you went to, because your enemy was all around you. There was no such thing as a front line that you could fight them. You know, keep them away from you. They're all around you over there. And I worked with Vietnamese. We hired them to fill sandbags, and a lot of them were Viet Cong. A lot of them was. We used to go down to the river every day. We'd go down there. They got a river down. We could go in there swimming, and the GIs would get haircuts and the shave and stuff. Vietnamese would give them that. Well, we got on a fire one night. One of the guys that gave us a shave, Vietnamese, had a cross. We got on a fire one night, and got hit one night, and I was in my platoon sergeant pulled me out of the tent. We had a tent over the ditch. Pulled me out of it, and I was still in my underwear. We started firing. Well, I don't know who killed him, but we found him the next day with the cross. Saw him and recognized him and said, well, that's the guy who was giving us shaves down at the water. So what I'm saying is saying this: we were mingled in with the Vietnamese, and a lot of them were Viet Cong. You don't know who they are. That's how bad it was over there. They had made me one night guard a building there on the base. There's about 20,000 GIs on that base. It's a big base up there in 9K. I was guarding a building one night, and the next day they told me I had to go back. And so I went back. Come to find out, that night they came down and told me, said, look, there is a Viet Cong in here somewhere in this building. I don't know how he got into, but he crossed the concertina wire somewhere and got into that building. I didn't sleep a wink that night. I ain't had my throat cut. I stayed awake all night long. Now, you talking about something weird? That's a weird feeling. To be in a place and know there's Viet Cong. And I took them Vietnamese down there to fill sand and stuff in bags. And they had a big place down there where it was sand right off the water. And I took about 10 of them down there. And I knew there was 2 or 3 of them Viet Cong. I already knew that. I could see it. And we were down there filling sandbags. And I heard noises. I could hear limbs and stuff popping on the other side. There was a bunch of them. I told every one of them. I was a sergeant then. I said, get in this truck, we're leaving now. And I know, by hearing the noises, I know there was Viet Cong on the other side moving in on us. I got out of there that time, got out safe. And that's when we were coming back up there, and they shot at me on top of a deuce-and-a-half ton, one of them big ton trucks. I was sitting up there, I was a gunner, and a sniper was shooting bullets off the top of it. And the Lord was with me, because it wasn't meant for me to die. Because if I had got died over here, none of y'all would be here today. But it's close calls over there, and I had some good times over there too. And I'm not going to go in detail about the good times.
Please don't.
But over there, here, when it's daylight, it's dark over there. There's just a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was good times over there as well as bad times. But it was an experience you'll never forget.
How do you think the Vietnam War affected the government?
During that period of time or now?
Both.
Right. Well, as far as affecting the government is because we lost the war. They claim we lost the war. We didn't lose it like they claim we did. We were just following orders over there. And whatever the government passed down, we followed them. That's just the way I feel about it as far as that part of it. The government made the rules. It was passed on down through generals and lieutenants, and we followed the procedure. And I didn't, I done what I was supposed to do. Of course I'm hurt that we lost it. It was political. A lot of that stuff was nothing but political stuff, and that's what we're going through with. We shouldn't even have been over there. It was all political. Lost all 58,000 men over there for what? We didn't do nothing. Came back with 58,000 men dead over there, and it's all political. That's all it was. It was a big scene to send us over there like that. It was a waste of time. And I tell anybody that face to face, that all that was a political thing during that period of time. The government was involved, sent us over there. All those people died, of 58,000 people for what? We didn't win the war. They took over the country. So what have we done? Families today, 58,000 men and women over there, women too, died over there. Why? Their loved ones today has lost those children, their family, for political reasons by the government. We didn't win the war. That's it. Simple. Is that pretty well all right, or yeah, as far as that part of it? Yeah, because when I came back, I've had people say, well, y'all lost the war over there. You're not like Korean War and World War I and II. I look at them. I said, I had no control over that. I just went over there and done what I was supposed to do. The generals and them ones are supposed to be looking at, not me. I just followed orders.
Which presidential candidate did you or your family support in the 1968 election?
Who was running then?
Nixon, Humphrey, and Wallace.
Actually, in reality, I didn't support none of them. That's just the way it is. I didn't like none of them. That's all I can say about that.
Well, how has the role of women changed in the past 60 years? That could be either of y'all.
How has it changed?
Yeah.
Well, now they're into politics more. They're trying to be president, and they're governors, and they're all into it. So I think they've come a long ways.
I'll be honest with you, I think some of the women are qualified to run that country,
being
more so than what we
more
got up there now.
qualified now. So I don't know. Who knows? One day they might be president. I don't know.
Okay, did you ever participate in or witness any political movements?
No.
Mm.
Do you think society was better then or now, and why?
I think it was better then, because now there's so much racism and so much uproar and politics. There's just too much going on, so much trouble. There's just too much going on. I don't know. Back then, we just didn't have all this going on that we have now. Back then, it wasn't so much going on like it is now.
I want to add this a while ago. When I was in Vietnam, I fought with the black right beside me. There was no such thing as hate. We got along. We had to get along. We protected each other. And that's the reason why that I learned a lot about black people when I was in Vietnam. They protected me, I protected them, and that's the reason why I was able to get back to this country. And that's the reason why that I value every person, whether black or white. I just value them on the way they treat me and the way I treat them. I have nothing against black people because I served with them in Vietnam, and they were good people.